there's a lot of talk about a concrete slab that was poured on the in-laws' property soon after Chance went missing. And a lot of people are saying that concrete slab needs to be dug up. What could be under there. Obviously, the implications are obvious, right? So we did go back and we discussed this with Dawn to try to find out what she knew about it, and what she had heard. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to True Crime Unsolved. I'm Miles Reef. I'm here as always with my buddy Sean Cahill. This is the place where we tackle the stories that the TV networks won't touch. Guys, today we're doing another reaction video. We were planning to do one of these every other week, but we've been getting so many comments from everybody. The reaction to what we're doing has just been so strong and so positive that we really want to stay in there with you guys and make sure that we're responding to everything that's being said. And yes, we can jump into the comments and type a reply, but I think some of these actually warrant a larger conversation. Sometimes we're getting questions or we're getting comments. You guys are giving us information that we didn't cover in the videos. We're then going back and we're vetting that stuff. We're talking to the people that we've done interviews with, and we're finding out what their take is. We want to come back to you guys and give you that take so that we can, give you all the information that we do have. So that's basically why we're here. And, let's have some fun with it.
Right on. Yeah, I'll say. I mean, I think I speak for both of us when I say we are really humbled and overwhelmed by the amount of engagement from the community, I guess, that we're building, or the people who care about these cases, whatever you want to call it. I think, Miles and I, we're expecting that to grow over time, but right out of the gate, we're kind of stunned at how many people are emailing us, hitting us on our social media, commenting. Like it's almost a little overwhelming, but it's great. We love it. And so I think the reason we're going to start doing these videos every week, like Miles said, is we want to make sure we get to as much of the stuff as we can.
Let's get into it. So we're gonna mostly stick with the Chance Englebert disappearance because we've gotten so many more comments on it since we did the last reaction video, and we'd like to wait until Liz Barraz's parents video has enough comments where it warrants us doing another one of these vids. It's only been up for a couple of days now. We're going to do another one of these next week, and that'll probably be like, I would imagine, almost all Liz. Even if we'll see if the Dawn and Ryan comments keep coming in, we'll do that too. But right now, we're going to kind of stick to Chance and the continuing comments that we've been getting on those videos that we've done. So having said that, J-WV9QP says, I thought that these interviews were amazing and greatly needed for the public to be updated on everything possible coming from the PI and Chance's mom. And you guys did an amazing job. It'd be amazing to see if you guys could get other side of the family, the in-laws, to do interviews with the Gering PD. Especially Brian Eads and Jordan McBride are very much needed. Jay, first, I just want to say thank you. We do get a lot of comments and a lot of DMs just telling us that we're doing a good job, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. We would love to speak to the PD, and we would love to speak to the in-laws. To be honest, we haven't reached out to the family on the other side. We haven't reached out to Bailey's family. We've really been focusing on our relationship with Dawn, our relationship with Ryan Couch, and sort of being with them and getting as much info out of them as we can. I think at this point, and just seeing the overwhelming interest in the case, and also the opinions that we're getting from our audience, I think it would behoove us to go after Bailey's family and see if they want to talk to us. Because we have gotten some really interesting comments and some really interesting DMs, some of which we've even passed on to Ryan. Ryan's calling them today. So that's like happening the day that we're recording this, which is Thursday, August 14th, right? And I guess this is going to air the following Monday. But Ryan is calling that person that DM'd us. So that's the best possible function of this project and this YouTube channel, is if we can connect people like that and actually make something happen. That would be the ultimate result of this whole project. As far as the cops, do you want to tell everybody what we're doing on that?
Yeah, the outreach has already happened, guys. We have been making an effort to get in touch with the investigators, both past and present, on Chance's case at Gering PD. We've also been reaching out to, and the conversation has started to try to get Matt Miller, who some of you who I think are clearly from the area and know Chance's life intimately were saying, hey, you got to get his good friend Matt. Matt knows a lot. So we've reached out to him. You know, that conversation has started. It's been very early stages, so give us some time. We're working on this. But here's the thing with the cases we cover on this channel, and I think we've said this in other videos, but I'll say it again. None of these are ever done for us, right? Like it's not like we're going to do the case breakdown and give you two interviews and it's like, all right, good luck, Chance, move on. This, as long as there are people who are willing to come forward to talk that have new things to say and are relevant to the story, Miles and I will continue to return to it. We will do new interviews. If those police call us and the investigators want to talk, we're on top of it.
We're working on it. We're going to talk to everybody that will talk to us.
Yeah.
So Patricia Johnson, 8886, said, wait, the guy driving the truck is associated with Chance. In what capacity is he also connected to Bailey and or the family? So going back to the interview with Ryan, I asked him pointedly in that interview if because basically the witness that has come forward that Ryan's been communicating with said that they did see the truck and they saw what happened with the truck and the girls getting into it. Ryan then sent them several photographs of people who could potentially be involved with the case, and they recognized someone as the driver of the truck in the interview, and I believe this is in there, and it's there if you guys want to go back and check it out. I asked him pointedly, "Are you going to tell us who it was?" He said no, he couldn't do that because it would jeopardize the work that he's doing right now. That makes sense because he's probably trying to communicate with the police and make something actually happen. Um, I did then follow that up and say, was it someone from the family? And he said no, but it was someone with an association. So I believe what he meant by that was that it was an association with Bailey's family, not with Chance. Since Chance wasn't from that town, Chance was visiting. I think the implication is that potentially this is someone that has some association with Bailey and or her family that was driving the truck that was pulling the boat.
Thank you for asking for clarity because a lot of this, some of this stuff is inference, and you have to really be paying attention. And if there's things that are unclear, we want to make sure you guys get it. And that's the long and the short of like what that whole thing was about.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the interaction that happened in the store when Chance was on his walk and he was buying the energy drinks, and what the clerk saw and who the clerk saw. They also potentially matched the description of someone. That time it was potentially someone actually from the family, I believe. And that's also there. And Ryan's not just going to come out and say people's names, right? Because he's ex-law enforcement and he conducts himself that way. And like Sean said, it's an active investigation, and you guys know how that goes. They keep the information really close to the chest because they're trying to solve the case. And even families, we've spoken to so many families that get frustrated with that because they can't get info while something's actually being investigated. So we have to be thankful that we got anything from him. But it's definitely intriguing. It's definitely intriguing. Okay. We got a lot of comments from folks, and I think most of the people who made these comments are actually from the area where Bailey's family lives. And basically there's a lot of talk about, and we hit on this a little bit in our last vid, and we hadn't heard about it, just being perfectly honest. But there's a lot of talk about a concrete slab that was poured on the in-laws' property soon after Chance went missing. And a lot of people are saying that concrete slab needs to be dug up. What could be under there? Obviously, the implications are obvious, right? So we did go back and we discussed this with Dawn to try to find out what she knew about it, and what she had heard.
This is one of those things where I can just tell we're going to give you guys the answer to the concrete slab story, and I don't expect everybody to fully buy it, but I'm going to tell you what we were told and what we've heard. So what we're being told is that's actually not true. It comes from a concrete project that was poured at a job site where Bailey's father was a subcontractor, and it's believed that people who provided the concrete for that job made the connection to the disappearance case and sort of spread this rumor about Bailey's family pouring concrete. Somehow that became at their house. Obviously, the proximity of time became suspicious. It's like, why are they pouring concrete at their houses? I think the implication is Chance's body underneath that concrete. So, look, Miles and I can't go do a forensic investigation ourselves and carbon date the patio at Bailey's house. According to all the people we've spoken to who are actually investigating the coast of this case, this has been really looked into, and it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor, and that's where it comes from. So, look, I think a lot of it comes down to now, clearly, a lot of you don't trust the authorities investigating this case for a lot of reasons. Like I think we talked about before, there just hasn't been a lot of transparency and information from them. So people sort of fill in the blanks, right? With like, oh, well, maybe they're protecting something, or maybe they're helping that family because we're not hearing anything and the case is unsolved. I can't tell you what to think about that. I'm just telling you the officials who have looked into this have given an answer on it, and we have been provided the answer, and that's what it is. And now we're giving it to you. So make of that what you will. It seems like the family, though, does accept that explanation.
Having said all that, if somebody in that town here's what we're saying, and your reaction is that's not true, I've seen it myself, go take a picture of it and send it to us. Like
Yeah.
for real. Because I tend to agree with everything Sean just said, but I also know that sometimes things are, you know, are not what they seem, and there can be layers of insidiousness.
And look, we're in the business of being open minded and looking at evidence. And so, we inquired after that. That's the answer we were given. And if there's evidence to the contrary, let us know. I mean, damn, we would love to know. And I think it's important because this is one of those things that's such a popular line of thinking on this case that whether or not it's true is actually kind of important. If we're all going to sort of look into this together and people are going to take time out of their lives to help figure out what happened to Chance Engelbert, this is something that maybe we should either
Yeah.
confirm or put to bed in one way or the other. So if you guys have something, let us know. I'm not here to tell you, oh, it's a rumor, lose that theory. That's what we're being told. So I'm just telling you what we've been told. If you know better, dude, let's talk about it.
So Bobby Preston 4413 said, I'm still stuck on why Bailey told Dawn he would be coming home in a body bag. We did address this on our last reaction vid, and basically, our reaction was that Dawn had never told us that. We went back and we spoke to Dawn and we asked her about this.
Dawn did say, okay, yes, this conversation did happen. It happened it seems like in the 24 or 48 hours after Chance disappeared. She said that this was a statement that came up during a phone call with Bailey, where Bailey told her, I am afraid, or I think Chance is going to wind up coming home in a body bag. Now, God, there's so much to say about that. I think obviously hindsight being 2020, we all feel like something bad happened to Chance, probably like not an accident, right? Foul play, probably at the hands of a person seems to be where this is going. So when you look at a statement like that 6 years later and you're like, whoa, body bag, like what are you talking about, lady? I mean, like your husband, you would think that the thought would be more hopeful. And if you're speaking to his mom, you probably don't want to say that stuff. Does she know something? Is she alluding to the fact that she knows he's going to be dead? I understand why this is a really intriguing statement. And I think we even said in our last video, I said, if that's true, something along the lines of like, we'd want to know more about that. And that is true. But I will say, after hearing Dawn sort of explain it, it sounded like something that stuck out to her, but it doesn't necessarily prove anything. And she didn't feel like it was worth bringing up. I think she things are so difficult in that relationship now between her and that family and trying to find answers for Chance. And there's a grandkid involved that it's like she didn't feel like it was really that important to bring up, which is why it didn't come up in her interview with her.
She said it was Sunday night and that they had just had a really nice talk. And that's when Bailey said, I just know he will be coming home in a body bag. We don't want to not look into whatever you guys throw our way. So, and Dawn confirmed it.
So we said we were going to mostly do Chance Engelbert comments on this, and we told a little fib because there was one from the Liz Barraza case breakdown that I felt it's sort of a mea culpa on my end that I wanted to address, and I didn't want another week to go by. So On the Liz Barraza breakdown video, Miam Klein 6002 corrected me on the way that Liz's town is pronounced. She said Tomball, Texas, just as spelled. I think I had called it Tomball because I see Tomb and I think Tomb, baby. But this is Tomball, Texas.
In your defense, when she spelled it, she wrote it as two separate words.
Thank
So
you for not making me say it. Yeah.
well, just as spelled Tom Ball, but if they're together, you could take it either way because you don't know where the split is.
But yeah, so thank you for that. We always appreciate being put back on the right track, and we certainly want to look like we're respecting the places where this stuff happens. So wanted to take that one on. Like we talked about before, guys, there's already a lot of comments on the Liz breakdown, and we've gotten a lot of feedback on that. Not just there, like on social media, everything. People have thoughts on Liz Barraza, which is great, and we want to take those on. But this Friday, I guess you just saw it. Actually, it'll be last Friday by the time you see this. Her parents' interview has gone live, and we really feel like everyone should watch that first before we wade into the theories and the feedback, because we can tell there is a burning passion with people for Liz's case. And as tempting as it is for Miles and I to get in there and start engaging with it on one of these videos, we're going to do it next week, just because check that video out. And in a couple more weeks, you'll get the insight of the lead detective on the case, Michael Ritchie, and we will wade right back into those waters again. But for now, I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your awesome feedback, for your continued interest in this channel and our mission, and for keeping us honest, on the things that we need to be kept honest on and keeping us on track. We really do appreciate it.
This Friday, we've got the case breakdown for the Jennifer Kesse disappearance. We do have interviews coming up after that with some of the principals involved, including Jennifer's parents. In the meantime, if you like what we're doing, please drop us a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.